You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
That's a good feeling, is it not?
Lovely coming back from the Trop. Venezuelan Heritage Night, and we get the W against the New York Yankees. I had a great time, man.
Let's get right into it. Lot to discuss here. Welcome to Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays. From game analysis to player interviews, we've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
And I'm Ulises Sambrano.
Bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
And every season they've gone to the playoffs, hopefully again this year as well. So grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code, all lowercase, LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100.
On today's episode, we have a nice, heartening win for the Rays over the big bad New York Yankees. We will be discussing all the ins and outs of that game, plus maybe a mailbag or question to boot as well. Yeah. Sorry, I paused for a second. My mind is racing as we are recording on a late Tuesday evening. We have big boy jobs, so sometimes our brains are fried by the time we get to this late night into recording, but we will try to roll with the punches and have fun with this one. Ulises, you still have salvaged somewhat of a voice after the Rays secured a 5-3 victory over the Bronx Bombers. The Rays are now one game below 500, 45-46, while the Yankees fall to 55-38. It is kind of remarkable that the Yankees have had one of the worst stretches, actually, I believe the worst stretch in all of baseball the last couple weeks, and still, yet, they are 17 games above 500.
It matters to win early in the season, people. And that's what, a lot of people are like, oh, games in April don't matter. They do. They matter as much as September, baby.
They do. And that's why you can salvage or deal with and go through a 5-16 record since June 15th, the Yankees have had.
By the way, if that doesn't really ring like a lot, 5-16, just let's say it another way, because it's nice to say this about the Yankees. In the last 21 games, they have lost 16 people.
Yeah.
They are playing horribly. And guess what? Good, because the Rays need that kind of competition right now to get some oomph behind them after that disastrous Texas Rangers series where they got swept and they just looked non-competitive at all. Boom. They come out after an off day. They regroup, and man, today was fun at the Trop. It was fun. I don't know how I still have a little bit of voice because I, of course, after the victory, I might have done the Tampa, and I went a little nuts, and a bunch of Yankee fans wanted to, do things.
Throw hands. Yeah.
Throw hands. And they didn't, of course, but they always think, it's like what's the refrain with the dog that barks a lot and then never bites?
All bite, no bark.
That one, that's Yankees fans.
Yes, that is true. Speaking of that, because it is comically well known how the Yankees do sponsored ads on social media to try to get their fan base to buy tickets to the Trop.
Yeah.
Out of the 20,436 listed bodies in attendance, what percentage, give or take, would you say are Yankees to Rays fans?
Honestly, given the fact that where the standings are, I was not, I was surprised because I feel like it was a 45 Yankee, 55 Rays. And maybe that's me saying that because after the first inning, they had nothing to cheer for. They have nothing to cheer for because Carlos Rodon is an overrated pitcher that got paid millions of dollars for nothing, and that's what the Yankees are. Okay, they didn't really have a lot to cheer for, so they were very quiet. So maybe that's why I'm giving the 45-55 advantage Rays. Now, I was also sitting on the Venezuelan heritage sections, which is behind the Yankee dugout, behind the Yankee bullpen. So it should have been a lot of Yankee, love around me. But thankfully, it was not a lot of Rays fans, a lot of Venezuelan Rays fans. And that was really cool to see. And we even got to obviously chatting and all that, but chanting our chants, the ones that we do in Venezuelan Winter League ball, we started doing them.
I see. Give us a chant. What's an example of a chant here?
For example, let's say there's a man on first and the Rays are pitching. There's one out. So you want the double play if you're a Rays fan, right?
Correct.
Yankees would like a hit. So one of the popular ones is that the fans of the team that want the hit, they would go un hit, one hit. And then the other team would go doble play. So then double play. So then you would go back and forth. Un hit, doble play. Un hit, doble play. And then we started doing that. That was awesome. Just stuff like that. It was a tremendous atmosphere, man.
And by the attire that you're wearing, for the folks watching on YouTube, is that a Venezuelan heritage jersey that was given away as part of the pomp and circumstance?
Correct. Yes. You had to buy special tickets for it, and you get the jersey. Pretty cool. I like the design. Not too bad, not too shabby. The only thing I will say is this puppy is not going to make it through 2 washes. So I'm going to have to either wash it by hand or do one of those nets that you put in the washer for sensitive clothing. That might be it, because I don't think Stu spent a lot of money on these jerseys.
Really, I mean, I get the jersey thing, but at that point, that jersey is probably equitable in price to a hat. Might as well do a high quality hat and give that away as opposed to a jersey. Just saying.
Apparently they did that last year, but I was in Japan.
Oh, okay. Understood. Yes. Ulises, the world traveler he is. It's funny you mentioned Carlos Rodon and the Yankees not having much to cheer about, really, outside of that 1 run scored in the first inning and then 2 runs scored in the 7th on the home run off Poche. But the Rays, so important and integral, especially after the lousy series that was against the Rangers, come off off day and just score runs in bunches early. First inning, 4 runs, set the tone, quiet the opposition, quiet the fan base for the opposition, and put your pitching staff, i.e. a young Ryan Pepiot, let him cook from there. But Carlos Rodon has been maybe a little bit of an overstatement to say a disastrous of a signing, but it is not looking pretty 2 years in. Across 163 career innings with the Yankees, I believe he was injured much of last season, 5.4 ERA. And this dude is signed to a 6-year, $162 million deal. So he is getting paid until 2028. The old Scott Boras long-term contract, take advantage of a big market team and capitalize off that. And you look at what the Yankees are doing or not doing. Carlos Rodon is part of the problem, but also the offense is part of the problem. Without Giancarlo Stanton, who, hey, death, taxes, injuries, that seems to be the approach with Stanton these days. And since he's been in a Yankees uniform, I don't care how good Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are, you have to have more than 2 elite dudes in a lineup, because everybody else that was in the lineup for the Yankees tonight has an OPS under 700. That is not going to get it done. Whether it's Verdugo, whether it's Torres, whether it's Volpe, whether it's DJ LeMahieu. I mean, it kind of looked Rays-esque, at least early season Rays-esque from that perspective.
I mean, we have seen this for the last 12 years now. You cannot have, even if you want to have the best 2 players in the game, let's say they're called, I don't know, out of a hat, Michael Trout, and I'll pick another guy. Shohei Ohtani. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, that actually happened. They didn't do anything. Two guys does not make a baseball team. And
No.
yeah, it's very fancy. It's very shiny toys having Aaron Judge and Juan Soto back to back. But if the rest of the guys are DJ LeMahieu in 2024, whoa, it's rough. And you know what? Good. I want to see the Yankees struggle. I want to see them, losing 16 out of the last 21, because the Rays need this kind of competition right now where they can feel good about themselves. They had the off day, and then right away they just crack on Rodon. And by the way, that felt so good, not only because, it's early runs, you quiet the opposition and the fan base, but also you're giving yourself a chance to kind of breathe a little bit.
Right.
Like they had already scored. You took that lead away, right back. Nope, not yours. And you also have a young pitcher on the mound who did kind of struggle in the first inning and then settled down in Ryan Pepiot. And we'll talk more about him. But you also do that with him. Hey, bro, the first inning, forget about it. Focus on your thing. We got you a lead. It's 4-1. Let's go. And he did exactly that.
Yes. We have more to discuss on this game, plus a voice memo that we will want to get to. We do have some other great mailbag questions. Probably will not get to all of them today, but first we have to tell the audience something very important.
This episode of Locked On Rays is brought to you by Booking.com. Yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about, including our rival cities. Yes, that's New York. Yes, that's Boston. And of course, Baltimore. But you know what? We don't have to like their baseball teams, but we can like their baseball cities. In fact, Kevin was recently in Boston, and I'm sure that he liked Boston, right? Kevin, did you have a good time in Boston?
I did. Outside of the annoying Red Sox fans, it was a good experience.
There you go. That is a perfect takeaway from going to Boston. So from hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. So book today on Booking.com, on the site, or in the Booking.com app today. I've told you many times about Game Time. I love using Game Time. Why? Well, because you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever you want. They have zone deals too, which means that you can save even more on the app by just choosing a section and let Game Time pick your seats. And my favorite, the seat views. You get a panoramic view from your seats in the app before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Rays putting forth some offense thanks to Yandy Diaz, thanks to Randy Arozarena, thanks to Isaac Paredes, thanks to Johnny DeLuca. The Rays were able to pull out a victory. And I guess Paredes is continuing to prove why he was deserving of his first and maybe hopefully more All-Star nominations with that 3-run blast early in the contest. 15th home run of the year, 50th RBI of the season, takes a 96 fastball down in the zone. And guess what? He pulls it to left field just like he's done every single other home run in his career. We didn't really get into this on Monday's show when we made the announcement and reacted to Paredes being an all-star, but whether he's with the Rays or another team, down the line several years from now. This may not be the last of his All-Star appearances. If he keeps up what he's doing, it's hard to ignore 30 home runs and 90 RBI, 95 RBI. I get a little Aramis Ramirez vibes in terms of the consistency and longevity. Maybe.
Wait.
Yeah.
You said Erasmo Ramirez.
I thought I said Aramis Ramirez.
Okay. All right. Then
not Erasmo Ramirez. No.
Like,
you're not dealing with 7 ERAs.
I was like,
You're dealing with a guy who did a lot of damage for the Pirates and the Cubs and some other teams. Maybe not to the level of Aramis Ramirez, but just that type of consistency where you can bank on what he can do year in and year out. And Kevin Cash has talked about it. Chad Mottola has talked about it. Paredes is still young. He's still, only 25, 26 years old, but he has such a mature approach at the plate, similar to Yandy Diaz, where it's a situation of, I'm not going to swing at balls. I'm going to swing at strikes. I'm going to try to find my pitch to hit. I will foul off enough pitches to find that pitch to hit. And if I get 2 strikes, okay, maybe this time I won't sell for the home run. I'll just hit a ball up the middle or the other way. And that's really what has been working for him all season long. And hopefully he doesn't get exhausted and exacerbated by the All-Star break, and he continues to perform into July, August, September, and so on.
Yeah, and I know, at least our buddy Evan Klosky is doing the Paul Revere of, hey, he might get traded. And that could very
well happen. I know that we got some comments on YouTube about I didn't make up that trade-off for that fairy tale trade-off of the Mariners giving up their number 1 and number 2 prospect for Paredes, but it's something you have to consider if a team like that does call.
Well, the thing is, okay, I think with trades like that, people. And I think maybe some of the YouTube commenters, you guys can also call me wrong and whatever. But I feel like there's a difference of when we say something like that, it's not that we want it to happen. It's we're trying to think like the Rays front office is saying, would that be beneficial? And I think the Rays front office would say, hey, if the right package comes along, it would be beneficial because we don't know if Isaac is going to keep doing this for the next 4 or 5 years. However, we do know that he's going to get very expensive because he's a Super 2.
Correct.
So arbitration now is 4 years. Okay, so he's going to get increasingly more expensive. And maybe there's somebody else that they want to throw money at that's a little bit younger.
The Rays are already clearing payroll pretty quickly in a short span of time. Goodbye, Aaron Savali. Goodbye, Phil Maton. Maybe goodbye another player or two. That remains to be seen. In talking about real pie in the sky and fairy tale, my hot take here and crazy theory is maybe they're trying to get money off the book so they can make a notable, productive addition at the trade deadline, a veteran pitcher or veteran bat that they can plug in for the rest of the year and do work. But that might not be the case. It might just be, getting guys who have not lived up to expectations that were levied upon them and lowering that payroll to Stu standards, I should say.
I will say this. If Isaac were to be traded, it's a hey, we're not going for it in 2024.
Right.
I think that would be pretty obvious. And you are not going to get any big bats at all. If Isaac is gone, what the Rays front office is saying is, hey, just bear with us for the next 2 months. You're going to see a lot of young guys, and just we're going to get some good prospects back, hopefully in AAA, hopefully maybe young MLBers. Right. But that's what the Isaac trade would signify. It's hey,
yeah, for sure.
We're looking for.
And I know that, again, I don't want to go back and respond to Twitter comments and so forth, but the Mariners' number 1 prospect. Time to tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's number 1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. So all you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. So get in on the action daily with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. And you need to pay attention to this. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Cole Young, I think. He's listed as a shortstop, second baseman. And, well, we got enough shortstops where we got good shortstops in the minor league system. That's true, but is Taylor Walls going to be in a Rays uniform forever? Is Jose Caballero going to be in a Rays uniform forever? Is Ahmed Rosario going to be in a Rays uniform forever? You can also move guys around. I mean, maybe Carson Williams becomes a third baseman in time. Maybe this young
kid, man.
Yeah, you trade Brandon Lau, trade a couple other guys, and now you need a middle infield spot, 2 or 3. So I just wanted to put that out there. One guy who probably won't be traded anytime soon, Ryan Pepiot. Ryan Pepiot doing what he had to do. No, he walked 3, but getting into the 6th inning and more or less allowing the roadway for Jason Adam and Pete Fairbanks to get the final 6 outs. Again, we've talked about the struggles of the Yankees offense outside of Judge and Soto, but it's still the Yankees. And I think Ryan Pepiot really had a good mentality about it of, I don't care what the name is on the back of your jersey, what the name is on the front of the jersey. I'm going to go out and compete, and I'm going to bounce back from a somewhat unfortunate start against the Royals where he only threw, I think, 87 pitches and walked several guys as well. So the ability to bounce back and utilize that changeup of his, and I know he's had some inconsistencies this year, which is going to happen with any young pitcher, but I feel like he's a guy that can be on the upswing the rest of this year and next year. Combine him with Boz and Bradley, and you've got a pretty nice triumvirate right there that you can build around. 3 young power arms that, as they continue to mature and improve their secondary offerings, they'll be in good shape. And, I mean, Pepiot already has the really nice secondary offering with probably one of the better changeups in the game right now. Just the action that it has and tailing down it away in the velocity differential from the fastball. He certainly has that working for him.
That changeup worked wonders today against the Yankees, man. And it was great to see. And it was also great to see the fact that Kevin Cash, thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the pod. Kevin Cash, you're the man. Last time, Pepiot, what did I say? I just want to know when the long leash is coming. When can he just go over 100? Kevin Cash heard me, didn't text me, but he wanted to. And he said, you know what? I'm going to do it today. 101. He crossed over the 3 digits. Thank you, Kevin Cash, for listening. I hope you're subscribing to the YouTube channel. It'd be really nice if you did. So that was great. That was great that he did that. I like that push, because you're going to need, just like it was important for Rasmussen and Patino at the time and Boss to get that experience in the playoffs. And it didn't go well. McClanahan either didn't go well, but that's needed. That brush of competition is needed. Pepiot going over 100 pitches. He's going to need that type of competition. You want to put the fire on him, because if he's going to be a triumvirate, or part of the triumvirate, like you're saying with Boss and Bradley, well, then he's going to need to do that at some point. Yeah. And against the competition with that crowd, the way that it was, awesome to see Cash give a little bit of a longer leash to Pepiot.
Yeah, and I think that's the balancing act for the Rays and these young pitchers of, you don't want to baby them too much. And what's the point of babying versus letting the leash a little bit longer and not, trying to increase injury risk, because the Rays certainly have a history of that with pitchers.
If you're just Happy to see the 101 like me. Awesome. Put it down in the comments. If you are, no, you should maybe pitchers a little bit more. Put it down in the comments. I don't think there's a lot of Rays fans that are like us. We're by limiting the pitch count, we're really saving up on Tommy John surgeries. I don't think so.
Right.
I think we have plenty of those. But you know what? We have plenty of voice memos, and this one is by Kevin. He shares your name. Let's see what he says.
Ulises and Kevin, I recall last week when Ulises said, the 2025 rotation is sick. It's going to be amazing. Didn't we say in 2023 that the rotation was going to be amazing with Glasnow, McClanahan, Eflin, and Springs? Heck, even a young Taj Bradley. Now with Glasnow gone and Eflin likely traded after the season, it feels as though with, quote, new arms coming back post-surgery in Springs and McClanahan, we're bound to face injuries and more starting pitching going out on the DL for an extended period. Then the ball club, who relies heavily on its defense to make plays and win close games. Last year, we had a team who could hit the ball a lot better than this year's. Our current roster doesn't seem to consistently play well at all three levels, pitching, hitting, and defense. Now halfway through this season, we're talking about making a move at the trade deadline and looking ahead to how good the pitching will be next year. When do you think the Rays can put together a long string of series wins to leapfrog the Red Sox and creep up behind the Stankies and the Orioles using consistent play in all three phases? Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Kevin Weiss and Kevin TV Sports Fan for sending that memo. First, I mean, the silky whispering got me thinking, where were you, Kevin? Where were you when you were recording that?
Yeah, were you huddled in an office somewhere and trying to be as silent as possible? I'll tell you what, Kevin, I think has a very good NPR-esque vibe. Could read some audiobooks as well. He might have a business venture to in that respect. But to his question and point, and again, we always appreciate the voice memos, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Keep them to a minute or fewer, which is essentially what Kevin did there. Basically, a handful of points to make or add on to what Kevin said. Yes, overall, the Rays from opening day to now have been below average in offense. They're 23rd in team OPS, below average in pitching, 23rd in team ERA, below average in defense, 24th in team defensive runs saved. I think that it's an obvious factor that you have Boz, Pepiot, Bradley, Littell, Eflin. That's a pretty good start. Then whenever you add Springs and Rasmussen to the mix, things will hopefully improve from there. I looked at the schedule, and the Rays have a very tough schedule the rest of the season because of their division opponents and some of the other road trips. But I would think that a key stretch to rack up some series wins would be beginning July 23rd, where you're at the Blue Jays, who are the worst team in the AL East, and then you have a homestand against two of the lesser teams in baseball in the Reds and Marlins. And I feel like that is a key opportunity because we know that National League teams visiting the Trop, they're bad teams to boot. That should give the Rays some sort of inherent advantage. And then, you know, maybe you build some momentum from there and you can do some work against the Astros and Cardinals. I think that is a key moment, key barometer, especially leading into the trade deadline, where that could be the determining factor of, are we going to make a big move here or there? Or are we going to sell a big move here or there as well? And then, of course, you have I think one of the big elephants in the room is what to do about the backup tandem catching situation, because Alex Jackson, we've talked about it for months, he's not cutting it. At this point, you might as well just call up Rene Pinto and let him play out the string, unless you want Ben Morphet to play every single game.
I agree with you on the July 23rd. I think, you know, it comes after the All Star game. It comes right before the trade deadline. That is a great key stretch for the Rays to make the last push. That this is it.
Yeah,
that's the one. So I agree with that. And with what Kevin said on I did say that in 2023 it was going to be sick, and I don't disagree that in 2025 it'll be sick. We have arms now. Do injuries happen? Yeah. And will injuries happen in 2025, Kevin? Yeah, they will. But right now, I'm really psyched about that 2025 rotation. I think you should too. I know we're running long here, but I could speak for an hour plus on the head-scratching move to keep someone who's actively not helping you win games in Alex Jackson. Negative 21 WRC plus. That's not good. 300 something, sub 300 OPS.
Right.
Not good. Oh, by the way, overall value, which is what matters, not what he does behind the dish. Overall value is what matters. Negative 1.0 F4. Literally below replacement by a game. The Alex Jackson situation is untenable. He's just catcher number 2. It doesn't really matter. So does Phil Maton matter? Does Erasmo Ramirez matter? Does Chris Davinsky matter? Does any guy that gets DFA matter? Yes. You should want all of your players to perform well. And if one is obscenely, I don't even know if that's a word, but if he's obscenely bad, yeah, I don't care if he just takes one at bat once a week, once a month.
Yeah.
You're out.
And I am curious to see, like, I know Pinto's not necessarily crushing it in Durham, but the time he was sent down, and I know it was only 42 at bats and he'd done most of his damage in like 1 or 2 games, basically, but he had a 214 average and 721 OPS. I mean, even if he's, 75 points worse than that in average and OPS, he's still more valuable than Alex Jackson. So I don't know if there's some defensive metrics or some maturity metrics that are saying that we have to percolate him in AAA, but
they weren't last year.
Some sort of answer for, because all we
last
had heard
was like, oh, he's catcher number 1. Oh, we love his defense. We love his pop time. But then in 1 month of MLB, they were like, oh no, let's get Alex Jackson. Something happened.
Something has to be up.
I'm sorry. It's past 30 minutes. And I know maybe we lost some folks here, but the folks that are still listening, look, I'll say it. I think something happened with René Pinto in the race.
It's possible. It's possible. And thank God for Ben Rortvedt, because this team
doesn't make sense.
Yeah. This team might be 12 games under 500 if not for Rortvedt and all that he's provided. And that's actually another mailbag question that we'll have to get to at another point. Hey, we took one from the Yankees. Rortvedt. We're winning on that front. There we go. So, all right. Thank you for the question, Kevin. We appreciate it. Again, send those voice memos, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Coming up on Thursday, sure there'll be more to discuss on the Rays-Yankees series and some other rumblings. Then Friday, fun Friday episode with our boy making a return, Mr. Evan Klosky. Lot to catch up with on him and the Rays and beyond. So be sure to stay tuned for that. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.